Previously on Tynesha Talks, I linked up with my girl Tara to discuss the taboo topic of non-monogamous relationships.
Because it's a sense of ownership versus respecting their autonomy. Are you really caring about the person, or is it just that feeling of attention that they're giving you?
Because we be addicted to love. Love is the biggest addiction right now. We don't really be in love, we be in attachment.
As you can imagine, this conversation ruffled some feathers, but we're going to get into it again today as we discuss the false promise of unconditional love.
Let's talk about love, because I think that love is one of those things that we all think we have felt at some point in our lives. But when you really sit down and ask someone, well, what does love mean? What does it mean to be in love with someone? We get tongue-tied, we start stuttering. Like, people have a hard time vocalizing what that means. Is there a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone?
Being in love, I think we get so confused because of these fairy tales. Falling in love. We should not be falling. We should intentionally walk towards someone as a connection of building and growing. We're not even standing up straight. We falling in love. We gotta just be love. And I think that's what most people are seeking, for someone to love them or do things for them instead of genuinely just being love. So if you are just being love, your ego is not really involved. So now you are just, I feel like you're being in your natural state. Love is natural. Love is freeing. Love is like how you treat yourself overall. What about you? What is love?
I definitely think there's a difference between love and being in love with someone.
Yes.
I think that the biggest thing with love is that it's selfless. It should be selfless. Like you said, our natural instinct is to be love. I think that a lot of people don't have that form of self-love, and so we're looking for other people to complete us.
Wow.
That's where trauma bonding and things like that come in. So I think that when you love someone, the easiest way to think about it is how you might feel about your friends that you pick, right? You pick your friends for a reason. You guys respect each other's autonomy. You're there for one another. You're a support system for one another. Even though you might not agree with everything that that person does, you still love them for who they are as a person. In love, obviously more in a romantic sense, but I think that when you're in love with someone, you take the selfishness out of it. It's very selfless. So I can be in love with someone but realize that I might not be the best fit for them, and because I care so much about them and it's selfless, I can detach myself from that person because I know I'm not good for their well-being.
If we're more on a conscious love, it is like taking yourself out of the equation. But then like in love to me right now is unconscious, and it's like infatuation. You're putting yourself last and you're putting somebody before you. I don't think that's not healthy overall. But we're taught in this society like you gotta put people before you.
Yeah.
So now it's like, oh, you selfish if you putting yourself first. Like, and it's very confusing. That's why I think most people are seeking love instead of loving themselves first.
And you know, it's interesting that you say that, because at one point I would have described being in love as saying that I'm putting someone before myself, right? Not saying that I'm not taking care of myself, but I'm just thinking of that person first. But now I think I would say the same way that I love myself and I prioritize myself, I can still do that with another person, like still have that same mindset, and it's more of a balance versus all my energy goes to them and then I fall below that.
Because that's really being disobedient to God. Because God is in us. So if we not treating ourselves right, we're not doing right by God. And that's the most important relation we should be having, is with God.
The Most High.
Whoever you looking up to, but it's something that is a higher source, a higher power out there that we should be putting our devoted energy, not putting other people on a pedestal.
You know what's interesting? This thought randomly just crossed my mind. So in the Bible it says that you're not supposed to idolize another man the way that you would God. But in a way, are we idolizing these men that we're laying down with, or idolizing these women that we're laying down with? That's not godly.
That's what I'm like. This is a distraction from our true source of relationship that we should be having. But I think we need some type of visual that we have somebody in front of us, and so that helps us like operate from love. But I think that's why so many relationships fail, because God is not the first person in your life. God is not the focal point in your relationship.
We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about unconditional love in modern relationships versus this idea of unconditional love in previous decades. All of us have heard the sentiment that relationships aren't lasting as long as our grandparents did. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings on that. So we're going to go ahead and get into it.
Time is evolving. So now what do we do in this 21st century with technology, all these different type of resources and knowledge? What do we do here? We have to evolve. But they want us to go back to the good old days so bad. I don't think those were the good old days.
They were not really happy back then. There were women trying to poison their husbands, and so we talk a lot about grandmas and why relationships aren't lasting like they were before. And it's like, okay, when we're considering the health score, I guess you could say, of a relationship, are we looking at the longevity of a relationship, so the quantity in years, or are we looking at the quality of a relationship?
Time, the length of being with someone does not equate to a genuine happiness within yourself. Like, we gotta stop thinking like a long-lasting relationship is goals. There might be miserable together. It's okay to have the seasons up, seasons change. Our season is gone, but we don't know how to let go.
Oh.
Some people are really just here for a certain amount of time and season.
I felt that.
You have to be okay with letting go.
You know what? I think that one of the differences that I see between men and women is that when something goes wrong, women are more likely to internalize it. Men just kind of take it at face value. So something didn't work out. All right, well, the person was this, or, you know, it just wasn't our time. But women are like, oh my God, am I hard to love? Like, what did I do wrong? And we carry that weight with us into our next relationships.
Yes. Getting bitter, getting angry, thinking all men are supposed to be like this, and just holding on to the past. We gotta let go of the past. And I feel like a lot of people don't know how to just go with the flow.
Oh yeah, no. So I think what people struggle with, and I'm speaking for myself, maybe y'all can relate, going with the flow can kind of be a double-edged sword, because I think women don't know how to balance going with the flow, but we have a direction that we're trying to head and we have an end goal, versus going with the flow, you just want to be casual and I want something different. So I think that women feel like we need to know we have a commitment that's going on. Like, that makes us feel more secure, because we might be used to men who sold us dreams and told us that going with the flow, we'll see how things go, and ended up nowhere.
What be the goal?
That's a very valid question, because I think that people don't have those conversations in the beginning. So you might have a goal in your head, he might have a goal in his head, but they're not meshing with each other. So you're right, what is the goal? This made me think of a video that I was watching from R.C. Blake's, which, by the way, I'm obsessed with him now. I love his content so much.
I'm so glad you sent me that video.
Girl, he is amazing. If you guys don't watch R.C. Blake's, I definitely do recommend him. He makes content that is kind of geared toward helping women navigate dating and relationships, but a lot of men watch his content too. He had a video where he was talking about how we have this fear, or we see what other people are doing, and it makes us feel like we're behind in life when it comes to relationships. And we've talked about this, the danger zone, the hitting the wall. I'm not married by 30. Oh my God, my friends are getting married, I'm not married. And it creates this sense of pressure. And he was just like, take a step back. And it's interesting because he's a pastor, so I just want to point that out, because I know that there are a lot of churches that kind of feel like we need to pray over women who are single, like, oh my God, we got to get this woman married. I've heard stories like that. Like, I had a homegirl who said that she went to a church and they literally used to pray over the single women. Please let her find a husband, like that type of thing, right? And he was just saying how that shouldn't even be your focus. He's like, how are you focused on trying to find a partner? Your credit score not right. You can't even pay your bills. You don't love yourself. And it's true, like, we don't focus on that aspect of self-love, and I think that's why we are so scared to be by ourselves, because we haven't been pushing the messaging that you should work on yourself first.
Oh my goodness.
Like, truly work on yourself first. We'll tell people, travel, go to school, but that's not really working on yourself. Like, do the inner work while you're single, so that you are the best version of yourself when you're in a relationship, so you can avoid that toxicity. Woo! God told me to send y'all that message today.
I'm telling you, because then you're gonna know what type of relationship style that even fits for your life. Even what you want out of this life. This life is temporary, okay? So let's live it to the fullest. How do you even want to live this life? How do you want to enjoy this life? You're supposed to enjoy life. You're not supposed to have, like, struggle love. And I think a lot of people just think, like, oh, I'm supposed to stick it out, force it. No, baby, no. It's supposed to be ease and flow.
But I feel like this concept of struggle love, from what I see, and you guys can tell me if you agree or not, I feel like it's so heavily pushed on black women. You have to deal with, right, I'm a ride or die. And that's something I used to hear a lot of women saying growing up. I'm a ride or die. If my man go to prison for 6 years, I'm sticking by it.
You dying, sis? We dying?
That sounds ghetto. I'm supposed to sit here while you might be in there talking to other women and pause my life for, like, no, I don't resonate with that type of thinking.
Me either. I don't resonate with even putting myself on the back end, not choosing me above everything, not prioritizing my peace. I don't even resonate with that no more. And I think because I spent so much time alone to realize like romance don't define me. It's just like icing on the cake. But shit, I'm the cake. I'm still going to live my best life without anyone if they want to join me or not. But you gotta have this main character energy in your life.
Do you feel like a person should not be entering a relationship if they have not dealt with those insecurities? Do you feel like you can be a work in progress and still date someone, or is that not realistic?
No. It's not. Having this over infatuating, like putting somebody before you, this is unconscious love. That's the old paradigm.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to a new paradigm where it's like it's about you first and then everybody else comes after you. It's like, hold on, let me make sure I'm good, and then I have the even capacity for you. Some people don't even have the mental capacity for all of these relationships or friendships because they haven't even like delved deep into their own trauma.
Oof.
Like haven't even handled their own emotions for real.
Yeah.
So now you're really a liability.
Do you feel like most relationships that people have are liabilities versus assets?
Oh my goodness. I'm like, that's why I'm not in one, okay? Because I'm like, this is not beneficial to my well-being.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about my well-being. You care about the ideal version of how you want me to make you happy. And that is an unrealistic expectation that I can't do for you. Like, you have to already be happy, okay?
Yeah.
Be happy first before you even develop or get involved with other people. But most people can't even seek happiness because I feel like our frontal cortex is so infatuated with romance. So now we feel like, oh, I'm not a complete person until I got somebody sleeping in my bed at night. So we already operating wrong. Because I think just because society, fairy tales, the movies, the music got us thinking like we're not a complete person until we have our other half.
Oh, you on my wavelength. I swear to goodness, I'm just about to ask you, how do you feel about the term other half? Do you feel like us having that saying in the back of our mind, is that problematic? Should someone be your other half?
Hell no. I'm like, you are a complete person. You lack nothing. You need nobody for anything. They're just your plus one, a bonus in this life, but you came in here to like achieve something magical within inside of yourself, and you're here just to experience other souls.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to experience you for this moment in time. I don't know where it's gonna go, but I hope it goes further. But if our time and our season is up, then I have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
But we don't put enough emphasis on the inner work that we have to do within ourselves, because that's what this journey is about. Is like the work you have to heal within yourself to make you even feel like you are lonely with yourself. Like, do you hear that? Like, we feel like we are lonely when we are in our own company. That is a red flag in itself, and we have to unlearn that behavior, thinking we just need mediocrity around us, nobody with substance in our presence, just because we're gonna be accepted by this society.
You mentioned something about relationships should be easy, you know, it should kind of ebb and flow. So what is your advice for people who are dealing with conflict? At what point is it, okay, this is something that I should try to work through with my partner, versus no, it's time for me to walk away?
Once you guys are starting to call each other out of your names, like y'all cussing at each other, it's combative. It's like, I want this, no, but I want that. We're just not compatible. I think we gotta understand we're not going to be compatible with every single soul we meet. So let's not force it. Yes, we can have disagreements, and that's okay, because I'm not going to pressure you into thinking like me. But if I feel like I am like neglecting my soul, then that's when I gotta go.
Respect is huge. There are some people who think it's normal to curse at each other. I don't think that's normal. We shouldn't be cursing. We might have moments where we get frustrated, but constant yelling, like, that's just very, very unhealthy. But we normalize it though. We normalize that.
We really think like toxic love, that means you love me for real, or you jealous, that means you love me. It's very unconscious right now. That's where we're operating from. So now if I'm speaking on like freedom and how to let your partner just be themselves, it's like, oh, you crazy. But that's really what true love is. It's unconditional. But let's be real, our love has conditions.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah.
You're not gonna play with me. God is the only one that can give you that unconditional.
Oh, yes. Thank you for saying that, because I said that and I feel like people fought me on this so hard. The maybe exception that's even iffy is the love between a parent and a child.
Yes.
You need to love on conditions, because if you tell someone, I'm just gonna love you no matter what, you slap me in the face, I still love you. You can kill me, but I love you. You cheat on me, you disrespect me, you still gonna love that person. Love has to have conditions. Relationships need to have reciprocity. If you don't have reciprocity, we are at an imbalance, and I got to go.
Yes.
I'm telling you right now, anybody watching this, I love on conditions.
Yes.
I respect you, you respect me. That's the condition that we have to maintain our relationship.
That's real. Do not look for me to love you unconditionally. Go to your mama for that.
Go to Jesus. Let me tell you, get right with God. Love God first. That's all you need for that unconditional love.